On the fake, Rodgers floating, caught, touchdown, Nothin again.
Just shy of midfield.
Prescott in trouble, throws incomplete. The Packers will take over. 28 yards for the win. Kick is up and good! A Green Bay winner!
This is Nothing But That Sports Talk. You Dallas Cowboy fans choked another game as I walk into this episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. And this is another show where it's literally nothing all about sports because I got Ashley Baker, a hardcore Cowboy fan, on the show. Welcome aboard.
Hey, what's going on? I don't like the intro. We
hey, I'm sorry. Giant fan of me is telling me.
I know. I
the Giant fan of me is telling me. Yes, I know I'm wearing an Allen Iverson t-shirt, but the Giant fan of me is telling me to do it. But
That's fine. I'll accept it because you're a Giants fan, and I know we're division rivals. So I will accept the shade because if this was me, you'd be getting shade from me too. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So I'll accept it.
I mean, you did beat us. You did beat my Giants earlier this year. You're one of the only two teams to defeat us this year. We 7-2, and we got a little war going on Thanksgiving Day. But before we get into that, let's just talk about the games we do have before my team face your team.
Right.
I want to get your overall impression about the way the Dallas Cowboys have played up until this point. While we're on the subject.
Yeah. So, kind of been a roller coaster already, right? I mean, we're only in week 11. We've already gone without our starting quarterback for 5 weeks out of the season, had a backup quarterback, Cooper Rush, who obviously went in there and killed it, went 4-1 over those 5 games after Dak exited after game 1 against the Bucks. So I'm gonna be honest, I kind of had Dallas around 10-7 this season. I didn't expect us to be sitting at 6-3 at any point. So I'm not super mad at the way things are going. We got some stuff we got to clean up. The defense has obviously been the headline of the team all season. They continue to do that week in and week out. That last 3 games, I feel like maybe 2 or 3 games, they've kind of been letting up some points, man. I don't really like it, we went a long stretch where we were only giving up a touchdown a game. Now all of a sudden we back to giving up over 20 points a game. I'm hoping that they can nick that in the bud, and that's going to start with them getting some type of run defense because our run defense is bad. I definitely feel like we need another wide receiver. I know we're in the market for Odell. So that's another storyline that you can add on to the drama of the Cowboys this season, us begging for Odell Beckham Jr. because we have been begging him as fans. Our players have been begging him. I hear Jerry talking about him on every radio show I listen to him on. So, now, as of now, they've played very well. There are some games that we just shouldn't have lost, including that Green Bay game. So, we should, technically, I think that Dallas should be somewhere around 8-1. I think that we should be 8-1. We shouldn't have lost that Bucks game, and we shouldn't have lost the Packers game. That's just me. But I mean, they've done fairly well for a team that people didn't think were going to even be in the conversation this year. For the most part, they've done fairly well. And now we just wait on Odell. So we'll see.
Yeah, especially since, this season the Cowboys got some good wins. You beat the Commanders, you beat the Cincinnati Bengals. You managed to defeat last year's Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams, who's literally going on a Super Bowl hangover, in my opinion. And unfortunately, again, as I mentioned, you defeated my New York Giants on Monday Night Football. But I'm over that. It's early in the season.
We all were undefeated at that time, so y'all were a fairly good team. So.
Yeah, but then again, when Dak Prescott got hurt, you had Cooper Rush carrying your team. So, I mean, if you was the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, who would you have as starting quarterback up until this point? Would you have kept Cooper Rush when Dak Prescott came back, or would you have brought Dak Prescott back?
That's a great question. I hate that you asked it because it's going to make me be a little honest here. Listen, Dak Prescott is our quarterback for a reason, and I feel like there could have been some additional plays in that Eagles game that we dropped with Cooper Rush.
Turnovers.
That Doc could have probably have done better at. We probably could have beaten them. I noticed, and there's a couple of analysts on TV that even brought it up, which made me really think about it a bit more. Dallas as a whole, specifically the offense, plays completely different when Dak is in the game versus when Cooper Rush is in the game. And what I mean by that is when Cooper Rush is in the game, everybody understands that they have to do their job. There's no room for error because he's not a quarterback that can clean up a mistake. So if the pocket breaks down, so goes the play. If the pocket breaks down with Cooper Rush, if the pocket breaks down with Dak, those guys believe in Dak enough to go out there and still extend or make a play. So because they understand that Cooper Rush is not that guy that'll extend the play or that guy that can make a play if the pocket, let's say the pocket collapses, every guy is doing their job. They're making sure that they're on their assignment. I just feel like that same energy is not there with Dak because they know that they have a Dak back there. So they may miss a block here. Oh, don't worry about it. Dak will clean it up. He'll escape the pocket some way, somehow. I always felt like that when Dak came back, that the offense should have been kept as simplified as possible. Our identity is running the ball. They've gone back to reverting to not running the ball. This past weekend against the Packers, Dak threw for over 40 passes. That's not a recipe. If I could, I wish I had the stats. If I could pull up how many wins and losses he has when he throws over 40 times, I'm more than sure the losses are greater than the wins. That's just not the type of football that we play. We are contingent on the run. We need to run the ball more. And Dak doesn't need to be throwing over 40 times a game. Like, that's just unacceptable at any point. So I'm fine with Dak being back there. You know me, I just want whoever's going to have us winning, that's who I want back there. But if they can just keep the offense as simple as possible and people can do their job, then I think that we can see Dak reach his full potential as a quarterback versus having to have this weight on his shoulder because folks are missing assignments, folks aren't doing their jobs, or we want this to be some type of pass fest because we have Dak Prescott in the backfield and that's what we're paying him for. That's just not the right mindset. So keep Dak back there, simplify the offense, run the ball, and don't make him a pass machine because that's never good for anybody. He threw 2 picks. When they decided to let him throw over 40 times, he threw 2 picks.
Yeah, those 2 picks really cost you in the last game.
Absolutely.
Not to mention the last game against the Green Bay Packers. Well, you had why would you go for it on why would you do it and go for it on 4th and 5? You had a chance to take Lee on a field goal. You didn't have to do that. You didn't really have to, Dak. What's wrong with you?
I think, that call definitely came from Kellen, or, I think those 4th down calls probably come from Mike. Right? So I'm 50-50 about that play, honestly. I feel like I'm not mad at him for being aggressive. We've asked for that. Be aggressive. You're not playing to not lose. You playing to win. So I'm not necessarily mad at it. I just feel like that it should have been executed better. If you're going to go for the 4th down, you have to execute. You just have to execute. There were plays that were working. There were things that were working through the entire game that they decided to abandon. One of the things I saw working for sure was draw plays. Every time we ran a draw play, whoever was running it was picking up 8 to 10 yards a play. They didn't play on that enough. Again, running the ball, they just didn't do that enough for me. So I'm not really mad. He was aggressive. I can't be mad. The other side of me is like, why you ain't just kick the field goal so we could have escaped Lambeau and got out of there with a win, because Aaron Rodgers is really our kryptonite. It drives me nuts. We can't beat him. He owns us. I think he's like 9-1 against us all time at this point.
Don't forget those 2 losses in the playoffs.
It's just disgusting. Like I was really upset. I was really upset, to say the least, but I'm not too mad at Mike. I'm not mad at going for it. That's my cat in the background. Sorry.
Black cat running around that franchise.
He's great.
Or in this case, your house.
He's black and gray, and he wanted to make an appearance. Thank you.
Black cat running around that franchise.
You see a big tail in the background. It's not my tail, people. I got a cat. It's not my tail.
But yeah, I mean, but look, I mean, the fact that you use both quarterbacks instead of just settling for one, I mean, you could have stuck with Cooper Rush. I mean, up until, of course, the loss of the Eagles, he was carrying the team when Dak Prescott got hurt in that first game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, he carried your team to those wins, and he's pretty much in position why you're 3rd place in the NFC East. And the NFC East is a lot better than it was in recent years. I mean,
absolutely. Nobody expected the NFC East to be this. We have the highest win percentage in the entire league, and they were calling this the NFC least all last season. So I ain't mad.
I'm not mad about that either. My Giants,
of course, y'all look great.
But they Washington's Eagles are doing well.
Yeah, so. Right, exactly. Here's the thing about the Commanders, though, is that I knew once Taylor Heineke got back under center, I knew that things would change for them. I've seen it over the last couple of years. They always have to go back to Heineke. No matter who they bring in there as quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Carson Wentz, it doesn't matter. I believe even when Kirk Cousins was there, I want to say that Taylor Heineke was in the background. And whenever there was something, it's just all roads always end up leading back to Taylor Heineke for the Commanders. And they respond to him. The team responds to Taylor Heineke. So I knew once he came in for these 4 games that Carson Wentz was on IR, I knew he would go somewhere around 3-1. And sure enough, he went 3-1. I knew that was going to happen. I've seen it for years. Brian Daboll is definitely changing the culture up there in New York. I mean, you guys are sitting at freaking 7-2. I only thought that y'all were going to win 2 games this season. So feel free to.
My guy who closed the show, we thought they were going to be 7-10. We already got 7 wins.
Yeah, I think now at this point, man. I mean, and here's the deal. At the beginning of the season, most of our schedules in the division was easy anyway. I think our division had like a pretty easy schedule. So I don't know, man. Y'all ceiling, y'all might go like 11-6. Y'all might go 11-6. I think if that, y'all, I don't know. Y'all, I didn't expect y'all to have 7 wins at this point in the season. So y'all definitely have shut me up.
Yeah, I watched the reaction video. You and your family reacted to the win against the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, I know that must have felt good. That was a big win, though. I'm not gonna lie, because when you went to Philadelphia, it was a much different story. But it's all good because you have to play them again in Texas. And that's the least amount of percentage the Philadelphia Eagles had when in terms of winning that game. I mean, when they were going undefeated, the Cowboys were the only team that we thought were going to be the one to end the streak. But wrong. It was the Washington Commanders that ended the streak. That was a big win for Washington because things like that, you could be seeing all 4 teams in the playoffs this year coming up.
Huge. And I was actually having a conversation with Mark and Youngheavy. You know, those are my co-hosts for Sports After Dark.
I've been
found on Twitter. And I was having a conversation with them, and I'm like, yo, we got to see the way things play out in Green Bay. I can imagine Aaron Rodgers and that team coming off of this emotional Cowboys win. They may go on a little streaker themselves, but they have a tough amount of games coming up. I think like their next
game is against the Tennessee Titans.
And I think they have a tough stretch of games coming up. Like the next 3 out of 4 games are pretty tough for them. But if they go on some type of run, then you have to think about the fact that they'll probably come out as the wild card in the North. And somebody in the NFC East is probably going to miss out. But if they don't go on some type of streak or some type of run here, and the Commanders keep rolling, and y'all keep rolling, and Dallas keep rolling, the entire division will make the playoffs. And that would be crazy.
Without question. Now, when I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys schedule coming up, you got the Minnesota Vikings, who barely came back and defeated the Buffalo Bills. We'll get to that in a minute. And then we already talked about the game on Thanksgiving. After that, you got the Colts, the Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Eagles on the 24th, the 29th. You got to play the Tennessee Titans, and then you end the season against the Washington Commanders, or this time down in Maryland. So when you look at the teams that have to face the upcoming schedule, like how many more wins you think the Cowboys can get?
Give me the schedule one more time.
Minnesota.
Loss.
Giants.
I think we're gonna sweep the Giants. I think we're gonna
Don't do that. I
think we're gonna sweep y'all, because I don't see us losing 3 in a row, and I think we're gonna lose to Minnesota. I don't like us against Minnesota. The only way I like us against Minnesota is if there's been a report that came out that said Justin Jefferson got put on the injury report, and he has a toe injury. So if he does not play this weekend, then we might have a chance. But I don't like us against Minnesota.
They beat the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota last year when Russ was your quarterback. Don't forget that. Don't think that can happen again.
I love that. but I don't love it this year. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm doing some type of reverse psychology. So I think it's an L against the Vikings. I think we beat y'all. Who's after that?
Indianapolis Colts, week 13.
I think we beat the Colts, so that's 2-1.
Houston Texans, you know you got to beat the Houston Texans.
3-1.
Jacksonville Jaguars, you got to win that
4-1.
Philadelphia Eagles at home.
I think we're gonna beat Philly at home. 5-1.
Tennessee Titans on the road.
We're gonna lose to the Titans 5-2 because Derrick Henry is gonna kill us on the ground because we can't defend the run.
Washington Commanders to finish the regular season.
So what? 6-3.
That's like 6-3.
6-3.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can go 6-3 to end the season. So what's that? How many games we got right now?
Well, you have literally 7 games remaining. You already had your bye week, so yeah, you have 7 games remaining. But when I'm looking
at maybe we may go 11 and I'll toss up one of those games. We may go 11-6. I can see us at least winning 5 more games. At least.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the Cowboys, they do have many good impressions. I mean, they average about 23.4 points per game, and they give up only about 18.2 this season. So, if you ask me, they've been pretty solid during these first half of the season.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm a little nervous though.
Yeah, I can tell. Fourth down efficiency, they're like 6 to 11. That's like a 54.5 percentage in fourth downs. Third down, converting on third downs, you're like 42 and like 113. That's like 37.17. So when I'm looking at those stats, well, you could be better on third down and fourth down conversion.
Absolutely. So we'll see how it ends. I'm hoping that we'll be able to. I don't see any other team. I don't see any other team from any other division pulling out another team. And we'll have at least 3 teams from our division make the playoffs. There's not going to be a second team in the South. The Bucs will win that division. There's not going to be, I don't know, that NFC West though. See, that NFC West is a little shaky to me because I feel like the Seahawks might pull it out and end up making a wild card.
Geno Smith's having a phenomenal year.
And I think the 49ers will win the division. The Rams are actually obviously dead in the water, but the Seahawks might pull out a wild card spot. So Dallas got to be careful and really be in control of their own fate from here on out. I don't feel like there's going to be a second team that come out of the North. It'll be the Vikings that'll win. If again, I don't see the Packers. They showed up against Dallas. I don't know if they're going to show up for the rest of the year though. But it'll be at least 3 teams from our division, I think.
But I'll say this:
and the Eagles.
I'll say this: you better not run into you better pray to God it's not the 49ers after what happened last year.
Who, us?
Yeah, your Cowboys.
Yeah, CMC will run a mud hole in us, man. If we don't get this run defense together, we need to bring somebody in who's good against the run. I'm hearing Ndamukong Suh is still available, and I'm trying to figure out why we're not on his line because we need run. We need somebody that can help with the run. While you
do have some solid rushing offense with Ezekiel Elliott and a good passing attack with CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
We put those together. You pretty much have a solid team that has the potential to win the Super Bowl in this long drought. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. But I want to ask this one question.
Okay.
You watch ESPN First Take, right?
Not as much as I used to. But what happened? What I miss?
You know that Stephen A. Smith doesn't like Cowboy fans, right?
Of course, I know that. Yeah.
Like when you see Stephen A. Smith antics when it comes to throwing shades on Cowboy fans, not the team, not Jerry World, but the Cowboy fans in general, what is this that you're thinking as a Cowboy fan?
It's funny in the beginning, but it's kind of like, okay, get over it already. But I think when he goes out and when he's at events and stuff, Cowboys fans probably give him hell. So I get him coming on, talking his trash whenever they lose. I completely get it. Some Dallas fans can be completely insufferable and just yapping off the mouth. So I get it. But it doesn't really faze me anymore. I kind of scroll past it at this point. I'm like, don't piss me off, Stephen A. I'm already mad. You're going to make me madder. So I pretty much scroll to him. But yeah, he doesn't like Dallas fans at all.
Yeah, he really doesn't. And another question to ask you: I see that in your podcast not too long ago, you managed to get another ESPN analyst on it, and it's Marcus Spears. Like,
Yeah.
when you look back at that interview with Marcus Spears, like, why don't you talk about like how you're able to put it together and what do you learn from interviewing Marcus Spears?
Yeah, so I'm just watching different various interviews. I'm one of those people that will watch, study, listen to other people's shows, check out other people's podcasts. That's what I'll do. And I've always kind of had this natural gift of being able to connect with the audience or whoever I'm speaking to anyway. So that's wasn't really taught to me, thank God. So me and Marcus go back and forth on the timeline all the time. Obviously he's a Cowboys lifer. So it was really dope that he was able to answer the bell and have come onto the show, and kind of taught me a thing or two about keeping my nerves calm whenever Dallas is playing. Like, he understands the inside of it, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, well, I'll apply some of that inside stuff that to the outside of me being a fan and try to tone it down a bit. But I ain't gonna lie to you, I was pissed Sunday. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was all that stuff he taught me a couple weeks ago, that went out the window Sunday because we had no business losing that game, being up 14 points. So, but it was good to talk to him about that. He enjoys like fishing and doing some hunting and stuff like that. So it was good talking to him and, just pretty much being myself, being authentic. Yeah, that was just pretty much it. Sticking to the sports, man. Sticking to the sports, what he does at ESPN. So it was a pretty dope interview with him. That's my guy. Shout out to Swagoo.
Yeah, if I could get him on the show, that'd be nice. But that's a conversation when we get off the air. But the Cowboys have not won a championship since the days of Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
Like when you look back at this whole playoff, and they haven't even got any further than the divisional round ever since either. So when you look back at some of this entire Super Bowl drought that the Cowboys are going through, like, what do you think is the worst playoff loss that the Cowboys have had, in your opinion?
Oh, certainly the catch. The catch, the Dez caught
the
it.
so-called catch against the Green Bay Packers.
Easy, the worst to memory. That was the worst for me. That, and last year was super disappointing as well because we really were clicking last year.
You owned the NFC, and then you ran into a buzzsaw in the San Francisco 49ers.
And they weren't.
And if you listen to my episode where I had talking spicy earlier this year, when we talked about that dumb play that Dak Prescott made, if you're gonna run at the 40-yard line, at least go out of bounds. Don't do that. Don't slide. Do not do that. You run out the clock.
Yeah, I'm not even mad at the loss. I'm mad because the 49ers were good, but they weren't just mind-blowing good. You know what I mean? Then we played them at home. Like, it was the makings for us to just run through San Francisco. But and Mark will even attest to this, as we got closer to the game, Mark kept texting me. He's like, I'm paying attention and I'm looking at the matchups, Ash, and I don't know if I like y'all in this game. He was like, this is a tough matchup for y'all, which made me do further research. And I'm like, all right, let me really check out the 49ers. And again, they weren't this just unbeatable type of team. It's just the matchups were super bad. And as a coaching staff and all of that, I don't feel like that they prepared for that matchup in any capacity. I don't like the 49ers' chances if they see us this year. I think that our defense, that our defense has, our offense don't have that for some apparent reason. I mean, I could get into that in another, but that dog mentality that our defense has, we would make it very hard for San Francisco this season. Very hard. I'm not saying Christian McCaffrey still wouldn't have a good day, but I'm just saying it just wouldn't be as easy as it was last year. And then for Mike McCarthy to come out after talking about, he could tell that the guys were nervous. And I'm like, bro, you don't throw your team under the bus like that, but okay. So last year was a head scratcher for me as well. We let them walk into our place and dominate us. And even when Jimmy G tried to give us the game back, we didn't take it. So I didn't really, the catch and last year's game against the 49ers really didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, honestly, to me, last year's playoff loss was the worst. I mean, obviously the Cowboys had other playoff losses, and obviously, of course, the loss by New York Giants in the '07 playoffs. That favored me because Tony Romo was doing interceptions or doing quarters. That favored me. We won a Super Bowl that year. The Giants have won more championships than the Cowboys had in these past year. Like, seriously.
Yeah, we got to get it together, man. Jerry Jones and them they got to pull it together. I don't really have much to say to that. I can't combat that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, hey, don't worry about it. All right, but on a serious note, no, let's just talk about like what you been up to in your how far do you advance your career since the last time we spoke lately, because I know that you're like doing social media work for this BetQL app. Like, why don't you talk about your experience working there, if you're still working there?
Yeah, so BetQL, make sure that y'all go follow that BETQL if you are a sports bettor. That is we host tons of different sports, thousands of sports models. They can help you decide on what you want to bet. If you want to put a bet on a game tonight in the NBA and you don't know necessarily what to bet, you can go to BetQL, check out the odds, check out the trends. We'll give you as much, check out the shows. We'll give you as much information as we can to make you help you make a smart bet. So I work with them. I'm one of the social media producers through there. Been there for a year. That's been incredible. I've learned a lot about betting. I knew absolutely nothing about sports betting prior to working with them. But I knew everything about social media. So learning the lingo and the terminology, and it's one thing to speak sports betting, it's another thing to write it out, type it out on social media. So that was super challenging. But shout out to my guy Ryan, because he's been super patient with me, and definitely that learning curve. I've been there for a year. I'm gonna be honest, that learning curve was easily about 8 months. 8 to 9 months. The learning curve was 8 to 9 months. And
So
I am heavy in sports,
8 to 9 months
of a learning curve. Yeah. Because there's so many different things with betting. It really is. It's just so many ways you can speak it and write it. And it's so many different ways that you can do it. It's a lot that go into sports betting. So, I'm a betting analyst at this point. I've been working in the industry for like a year. I know how to speak the lingo. I'm good now, but the learning curve was definitely something. So shout out to my guy again, Ryan, for helping me along with that. So I've been doing some social media work with them. I don't know if I had Sports After Dark going the last time you and I spoke.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
No, I don't think you did, but I don't think you did. No, you didn't.
I don't think so. The last time we spoke, I did not have Sports After Dark going on. That is the Twitter space that's exclusively on Twitter that me, myself, Mark Gunnels, and Young Heavy David Butler runs Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays after games, NFL games. We recap those games, and then we have a college space that we run Saturday nights after the college football games. That'll be intertwined with college basketball coming up soon. And then we do our football fantasy spaces, which is actually running Tuesdays. Tuesdays or Wednesdays around 8:30. So got a nice little brand going there. We average probably around 1,000 listens every time we go and actually run the space. Pretty dope community. I absolutely love it. It's funny to hear people's opinions. You've been in my spaces and you know that it can go.
I've been so your paces. I mean, I never even get a chance to speak, but I get that you have a lot of people in, and you're building a strong social media landscape when doing these Twitter spaces.
I've heard you speak a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, you spoke, but the club be popping. We call it the club. The club be popping.
These days, maybe I should close one of your spaces with you. But
yeah, we'll definitely look into it. But so I've been doing that. I'm recently just decided to join on the social media team for In Club magazine. So I'm excited about that. Going to be doing some social media work with them as well. So I'm excited. I got that going on. Planting That Berry with Renee Washington. I got some stuff coming down the pike for that as well. I'm still working and doing some freelance work with Fox Sports 1340 AM. I'm going to be doing some Super Bowl work with them in the next couple of months. Going to be covering some Wizards games coming up soon for them as well. So it's a lot going on, but consistency is key. That is my advice to you. Be consistent. don't stop. Keep doing your podcast, keep writing, keep doing social media work. Just be consistent because you never know who's watching. That's my advice for anybody that's listening, that's looking.
Exactly. Hey, I never got paid for any to be. I never got paid for any to be at work.
Yeah, oh yeah. You definitely listen. In media, you're gonna go a long time without getting paid. I worked for free for 6.5 years. For free for 6.5 years before I got my first job in media. So my first paying job in media. So but it's so rewarding. Once the work paid, nothing that's worth it comes easy anyway. So once you start seeing that work pay off and things start to yield tangible dividends, I promise you it's worth it. But yeah, you definitely got to get some reps under there and get some experience going for the free.
Hey, I covered the WNBA virtually through the Zoom calls, even interviews to the Washington Mystics. I mean, I know you've seen the work. You had a couple interviews, and one of them got featured on SportsCenter, and one of them, the Diane Taurasi interview, got featured on SportsCenter.
Yeah, keep doing it. Keep doing it.
You know what? You said something about not knowing anything about sports betting before you got your current job at BetQL. Christina Williams didn't know anything about sports, and she's literally right in front of my TV screen on MSG.
That's what I'm saying. But it's about honing in and just really making sure you tap into your craft. You know what I mean? Sports betting is such an untapped lane. You're going to see me doing much more. I'm actually going to be doing some video. I've actually already started doing some live video content for BetQL. So I'm actually doing social stuff and also finding myself in front of the camera for them as well. But, again, consistency is key. And honing in on your craft and making sure that you understand it and you love it and you want to master it is such a big deal. People are going to notice that for sure.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. Now what you talk about now. Who's your favorite NBA team? Is it the Wizards or?
Yeah, I'm a Wizards supporter, man. Shout out to the Wizards, out here balling without Bradley Beal, without KP. It doesn't matter who steps up whenever Brad is not in and KP is. Kristaps Porzingis is stepping up. They're winners of 4 in a row. I think they play. The last time they won, they beat the Memphis Grizzlies. It was without Ja Morant, but it doesn't matter. That's still a good team, even without Ja Morant. They won over 25 games without Ja Morant last year, okay? That's a quarter of that, a quarter of the games that they play. They won 25 games without Ja Morant. So they're a great team without Ja Morant. So shout out to the Wizards. They're winners of 4 in a row currently.
They're 8-6 right now in the 5th seed currently. I mean, I know it's too early to talk seeding in playoffs right now, but they're 8-6, right? But they're 8-6.
That's right. So shout out to them. I'm a big Paul George girl. And also I love me some Ja Morant. So those are the people that I kind of am keeping my eye on. Wizards, Paul George, Ja Morant.
Yeah, Paul George is killing it. But unfortunately, my New York Knicks are coming off a win last night against the Utah Jazz. That's the first time winning that building in a long time. And when I'm looking at before we get to you talking to explaining, when you look at the Washington Wizards this year, like how high are the chances of making the playoffs in your opinion?
The Wizards?
Yeah.
I think they can make the playoffs. That may be via a play-in, but I think they can make the playoffs. Like you said, it's early. They're sitting in the 5th seed. I'm hoping that they go up, get in a higher seed at some point. If they can stay healthy and continue to play good defense and continue to share the wealth, share the ball, stay in sync, they could be like a Chicago team was last year. Chicago was balling last year, you know what I mean? And of course they got Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan or whatever. But they were balling last year, and obviously they got Lonzo Ball and Caruso and everybody in Chicago. But they could be like a Bulls team this year. You know what I mean? Getting to the playoffs might be a first round exit, but you never know. I'm liking what I see from him. I'm liking the guts. I'm liking the fight. I'm liking the defense. So we'll see. That's yet to be. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx anything with the Wizards because I talk a lot of trash about the Wizards. So I want them to stay on a good path. They're beating really good teams, though. To be honest, they really are. They're beating great teams.
Without a doubt. I mean, Washington, they haven't. Well, they did make it to the playoffs in 2021, but they got taken out by the Sixers. So
absolutely,
they got taken out by this team right here.
Yeah, I see that.
But nah, on a serious note, no. Like, I mean, what let's talk about the New York Knicks. Like, what are your impressions about the chances of the New York Knicks making a return to the playoffs? Because they kind of fell back down to earth after a surprising return to the playoffs in 2021. I mean, they're 7-7. They're coming off a win against the Utah Jazz, and of course they got the West Coast trip, and they got a game against the Denver Nuggets. You're probably not going to hear me talk about it this episode since they play later tonight. And if the episode doesn't get posted tonight, I'm going to post it like tomorrow or later this week. But like, what do you thought about the Knicks 7-7 start?
I'm not surprised, to be honest, that they're 7-7. I really didn't expect too much more. I'm not sure if the Knicks can get back in the mix this year, man. The East is pretty competitive. You got the Cavs, you got the Nets, you got the Bucks, you got the Sixers, you got the Heat. Oh man. Who else am I missing? I mean, you got you got the Hawks. You know what I mean? Like, these teams are coming. Again, you mentioned Washington. I mean, I don't think that they're just going to be sitting out anywhere. Who knows what Charlotte is going to do? The Bulls, like, you know, the East is pretty stacked competitively. And I think that those 2 years that the Knicks had that window, that might have been y'all's window right there. I don't know. You know, everybody in the East has relatively gotten better. Outside of like the Knicks got the Nets got a little better because they got Ben Simmons back. You know, as long as he stay healthy, obviously James Harden looks good, you know, for Philly. And Embiid is a stud. Giannis, once they get Chris Middleton back, oh man, good luck beating them. You know, if KP can stay healthy again with Bradley Beal and the Wizards and Kyle Kuzma playing the way he's been playing, and you know, DeJounte Murray and Trey Ice. I want to call him Trey Lance so bad. My mind is on football. My mind is really on football. DeJounte and Trey, man. So, you know, in Atlanta, it's a lot of competition in the East, man. I think that window y'all had for those 2 seasons where y'all were a big deal with Julius Randle and RJ and all of them, I think those was y'all's years, man. I don't know. I'm hoping that the window hasn't closed for y'all, but I don't know. It may have. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I'll say this. The Wizards have some good pieces. You got the players you just mentioned, and also you got to worry about trying to get Anthony Gill involved on the offensive end. Yeah. I mean, for what I see so far, he's but obviously he has to improve a little bit, his game a little bit more, so we can like get some more minutes because you're sleeping on the kid.
Hope not. People should not sleep on him for sure. Like, I don't know. I'm surprised, even talking to you, I'm surprised at how much I know about basketball right now because I'm so locked into football. I really don't really lock into basketball until like Christmas. So, I mean, but I've been watching it enough because people just won't shut up about it. I mean, you saw what Luka did to the Clippers last night. You know, I'm a Paul George girl. And he literally, I saw a stat on SportsCenter. The man has, in the past 5 seasons, he has racked up 858 points against the Clippers. He literally owned the Clippers. That is disgusting work.
Which we expect.
And 9 times out of 10, these past couple of years, I mean, Paul George and Kawhi, this is season 4 for them. So 9 times out of 10, whenever he plays, one of those people should be guarding him, and he's still going crazy like that. So Luka's disgusting. I also forgot about the Celtics, the Boston Celtics in the East.
They were in the finals last year.
That's another team, you know, that somebody like the Knicks will have to worry about. I don't know how I forgot about Boston. Jason Tatum is on a tear. He's definitely in the MVP conversation right now. Those are the 2 guys that I had as my MVP top 2 by the end of the year, Luka and Jason Tatum. I figured Jason would have like this revenge season kind of thing this year. So yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see. The East is going to definitely be interesting to watch for sure.
Without question, there's going to be a lot of good teams coming up. Well, unless you're one of those teams take it for Victor Wembanyama, but that's a different story. And the switching gears real quick to the Western Conference, the Portland Trail Blazers, at least to start the season, they have the number 1 record in the Western Conference. Next up is the Denver Nuggets, the Utah Jazz, that's having that surprise to start. The Suns and Mavericks, we already talked about them. Well, the Memphis Grizzlies and the top 8. One interesting thing about the top 8, the Sacramento Kings.
I didn't know that. That's a fact.
The Kings have not been to the playoffs since 2006.
Holy smokes! That's the year.
That's the longest playoff drought in NBA history, at least.
And guess what? That's the year I graduated high school. So holy smokes, that is a long time ago. So the West, everything with the West right now, I'm taking at face value. I'm not taking the West serious at this moment. Those standings will certainly shift. You better believe it as the year goes on. I expect Golden State to get it together and get better. They are not in a top 5 situation like we expected them to be. They look horrible. The Clippers will get better. I expect that. The Grizzlies will get better. I expect that. Expect the Suns to move up in those rankings at some point. Where are the Mavs at?
The Mavs, they're like the 5th seed.
They'll probably move up to 4. I don't see them being anywhere outside of the 4th seed this year, especially if Luka keep balling the way he's balling. But the Kings being in the mix, and the Jazz being up top, and that stuff is gonna shift as the year goes on. I'm not really. Things will start being formidable or start to form Christmas and after. We'll really start to see these teams that we're used to seeing in those top seeds. So I'm not really taking the West serious right now. I don't think they're not their usual selves out in the West right now, man. I gotta wait to see them play some more.
Yeah.
But shout out to the Kings. Shout out to the Kings for doing it.
For the impressive start. Let's see how far they go this time.
Who the Kings got? Keegan?
Wow.
The Kings got Keegan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to them.
They haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
But shifting gears, we can shift back to the NFL since I know your mind's locked in on football. For the top 7 teams in the AFC, you got the Kansas City Chiefs at number 1, the Miami Dolphins coming off a win last week against the Cleveland Browns, they're at number 2, the Tennessee Titans at number 3, Baltimore at number 4, the New York Jets at number 5, Buffalo, who choked to the Minnesota Vikings at number 6, and the New England Patriots at number 7. And here's the crazy stat. We already talked about this, but you have literally all 4 teams in the AFC in the top 7 of the playoff standings. And sadly, you have to win your division in order to get home field advantage. I hope that obviously changed. But when I'm looking at those teams you just mentioned, like, what are your impressions about the way the AFC is lined up?
Well, we obviously thought coming into the season that 3 of those teams would be from the AFC West, and that is no bueno. The AFC West has completely let everybody down. The Chiefs run it. Obviously, they have shown it. I do not believe that it would be this bad for the Chargers if they weren't battling injuries all year. They've had injuries all year. I expected them to kind of be more talked about.
They are 5-4. They're tied with the Patriots.
That's what I'm saying. They're like a quiet 5-4 anyway. But again, I think that they would probably have, if they were at full strength, I think that they'd probably be sitting around 7-2 as well. Just my personal opinion. I'm not surprised at the Ravens being in the top 7, of course. So the teams obviously that are a surprise are obviously the Jets. You got 3 teams in the AFC East that are in the top 7. Bills, Jets, Patriots. That's crazy. We were expecting that again to be the AFC West, and it's not. The North, so the Bengals aren't in that conversation. I didn't hear you mention the Bengals.
Yeah, the Bengals, well, they're in a 3-way tie with the Patriots and the Chargers for the 7th seed. But the Patriots own the tiebreaker, obviously.
That's crazy. So, again, we thought the Bengals were going to be in the conversation. We thought the Chargers, we thought the Broncos with Russell Wilson. It's a lot of teams that's just, we thought, that the Bills would be sitting at the 1 seed. I thought the Colts would be in the mix and not the Titans because of everybody that they had acquired in the offseason. So, that AFC picture is crazy, but just my luck, the Chiefs sit atop. Yeah, Chiefs Kingdom love giving me hell too. So, but yeah, we'll see how things shape out. Again, we got 8 more games.
Yeah, we're literally in the halfway point.
Yeah.
Of the season. So anything can change. The New York Jets can get the top spot in the AFC if they win this week against the New England Patriots. And of course, the Jets have had bad luck. But while we're on the subject of the New York Jets, like, the Jets have not been to the playoffs since 2010. And they haven't had a winning record since 2015.
Yeah.
The past few seasons, they were a 2-win team in 2020. Last year, they only won 4. This year, they had 6 victories, which is literally just as much as the last 2 games. The New York Jets showed a lot of improvement this year. Even had some comeback wins against the Patriots, against the Steelers, and in the Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. And recently beat the Buffalo Bills before they went on that bye week. So when you look at the New York Jets, like, what are your overall impressions?
Not much.
See a return to the playoffs?
No. I think things are going to start to even out as the year goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it looks good. This is not going to be some type of fairy tale story for the Jets people. I'm just telling y'all that now. I
Don't
mean,
do that. Don't do that.
they got
Keep
6
it on the New
wins.
York Jets.
They got 6 wins. It's not going to be some type of fairy tale season for the Jets. Okay, they'll start to come back down, but they have picked up some impressive wins. Zach Wilson is at quarterback right now, right? So Zach Wilson's been doing his thing. Obviously, they have Sauce Gardner in there who got that defense rolling. So I mean, it looked good. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not on the Jets hype train. I'm just not there. Not gonna be on the Jets hype train. But they look good, but this is not gonna be some type of fairy tale run of a season for the Jets. Sorry, Jets fans, I said what I said.
If the season ends today, they would face the Baltimore Ravens in the first round.
And they lose. They get smoked.
We all know what happened the last time, but in opening week, the Ravens smoked the Jets as we expected.
Correct.
From that point, you thought they were going to be bad, but they had that compromise win against Cleveland Browns, who were sitting at 3-6.
Facts.
So, yeah. Then other playoff matchup you could potentially have the Titans and the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo blasted the Titans last time, and then of course the Dolphins and the Patriots.
Yeah,
those would be your playoff matchups with the Chiefs going on by if the season were to end today.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Now, shifting gears real quick to the NFC, you got the Eagles at number 1, of course. The Vikings are literally tied with number 1. Well, they're sitting at number 2. The Eagles on the top rank because they beat them on Monday Night Football. You got the Seattle Seahawks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so that's 3 and 4 respectively. My New York Giants against the Dallas at number 5. Your Cowboys at number 6, and the 49ers at number 7. If the season ends today, the Giants would face Tom Brady's Buccaneers. The Cowboys would face the Seahawks, and the Vikings would face the 49ers. So when you're looking at the NFC standings, like, what are your impressions overall?
Those are some good matchups. That 49er Vikings game would be crazy. Dallas would be going to Dallas go to Seattle? Dallas would go to Seattle. I think we could avenge that Tony Romo fumble in the playoffs.
You're supposed to go for a gateway field goal, but Tony Romo mishandled it.
Disgusting work. Right. Disgusting work. We would avenge that. You said the Giants who would be facing the Bucs?
The Giants would face the Bucs.
That would be good. I would love for Tom Brady to get revenge on the Giants from those 2 Super Bowls.
No. It's not going to happen.
Those would be the storylines. I'm a storyline person, people. Those would be the storylines.
I wouldn't be that mad if that happened. I mean, we still got the wins in 07, 2011 to fall back on. It's not the Super Bowl, so.
That's true. That's true. But those matchups are really good. Both conferences matchups would be really good. And again, like you said, Philly would be on the bye. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that. Those would be some pretty good matchups. That 49ers Vikings matchup would be crazy with Justin Jefferson going up against that 49ers secondary. That would be crazy. That would be so good.
Yeah. That would be pretty good. And well, it's time to wrap up this episode. Nothing but that sports talk with our little NFL picks. Of course, you got the Packers and Titans. Who you got?
Titans.
I got Titans win that one. Then the Sunday matchups: Falcons, Bears.
Bears.
I might pick the Atlanta Falcons on this one.
Okay.
Bills, Browns.
Bills.
Bills as well. Eagles, Colts. I was going to pick the Philadelphia Eagles, but after the way they played the other night against the Commanders, I'm 50-50 on that one, but I'm going to pick Eagles just in case.
I'm 50-50 too. I don't like that loss for them, but I'm going to go 50-50 too, but I'm going to roll with the Eagles as well.
Jets, Patriots, I'm rolling with the New York Jets.
I think the Jets are going to take this one as well. Finally, the Patriots own them. I think somebody told me that the Patriots haven't lost to them in like 7 years. It's disgusting work. I think that ends this year. I think they're coming in with that motivation right there. They have lost to the Patriots for the last 7 years, and they are not going to let it happen this weekend. So I got the Jets.
Rams, Saints.
Saints. It's too many injuries. I don't know if Matthew Stafford is playing this week. Cooper Kupp is out for the next 4 weeks. I think the Saints, this is a get-right game for the Saints against the Rams.
Yeah. Giants, Lions. I'm picking the New York Giants to win this one.
I got y'all winning. Yeah. Y'all will move to 8-2. That's disgusting, but y'all will move to 8-2.
Ravens, Panthers. I'm picking the Ravens, obviously.
I'm going Ravens as well.
Washington Commanders, Houston Texans. I'm picking the Commanders.
Me as well, yes.
Broncos, Raiders. I'm picking Denver.
Oh my gosh.
Favor, so yeah.
I am gonna go with the Raiders this week.
Raiders.
And I think that emotional display.
Yeah, that emotional press conference. You know he's gonna be more motivated to get some more wins.
I think that's gonna motivate them, and I think that they are going. They will start to turn the tide. I don't know if it's gonna do them any good, but I think this week is the week where that's a wake up call. I mean, he boo-hooed at the podium, man. So I said that whoever they play this week, that I think that they were gonna end up getting a win. That's gonna galvanize them.
Yeah, and I know you said it on the show, but for segment's sake, Vikings. Cowboys. I mean, I'm gonna be on your side and pick the Cowboys to beat the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm not on that side actually.
Just because we need Minnesota to lose, so when my Giants beat the Detroit Lions, we can actually tie with them. And when the Eagles lose in Indianapolis, even though I picked the Eagles to win, we can actually tie with them for the top spot in the NFC.
I'm actually going with the Vikings. So.
And you call yourself a Cowboy fan, whatever.
I'm going with the Vikings. I want Dallas to prove me wrong. Maybe I'm doing this reverse psychology thing. God, please prove me wrong, Dallas. Prove me wrong and go into Minnesota and get busy. But that emotional win that the Vikings come off of, and then against the Bills, and then that bad loss Dallas comes off of, we still on the road. I don't like it. I don't like how it's shaping up. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I got the Vikings winning that game.
But I will. Don't let me come on Sports After Dark. I'm coming on Sports After Dark after this.
We'll be there, man. You gotta come through.
I'm just giving you a warning. I will be in Sports After Dark after this Sunday.
Cool. We'll be there. You already know what time it is.
And I better be the first one to speak after that, because I'm going to educate you on this.
You better be in the club early. You already know how the club go. You first come, first serve in the Sports After Dark club. That's how we roll. We gotta be fair.
Steelers, Bengals.
That's a tough one because that's a divisional game, man. And as much as I want to pick the Bengals, who are without Jamar Chase, by the way, I don't like that game for the Cincinnati Bengals, man. They are 0-3 in their division so far. I do not like that game for the Bengals. I didn't even know
your friend D's a Steelers fan, so
yeah, I didn't even know they played the Steelers this week.
In Heinz Field.
That is 50-50 for me. I'm going to go with the Bengals, but I am not surprised if the Steelers win that game.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Chiefs, Chargers.
I'm going to roll with the Chiefs. Chargers still too banged up on injury-wise.
Yeah, I got Chiefs as well. 49ers, Cardinals.
49ers. They're going to smoke the Cardinals.
The crazy thing is, that's good. That's where the Super Bowl is going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Arizona. And while we're on the subject of Arizona, why don't you tell me about what Super Bowl coverage can I expect for you when this year's Super Bowl comes to the desert?
Yeah, definitely gonna have the Sports After Dark crew there. We're looking at trying to do a live show from there. That week I will be. I'm planning to be on Media Row. So look for some like interview and some coverage, from me via Fox, because I'm gonna be there covering for Fox. But yeah, that's what I expect to do. I'm excited. There'll be some different events around the city as well that I expect to be at, and possibly be at some panels hosting. We're going to see what we can make it do what it do. But yeah, I'm excited. That's what in the desert in Arizona. I've never been, so I'm excited to see what Arizona holds.
And now in the show, get your head in the game.